Right guys, we're back and we're going to set up the functions for our Zephyr running the auto and allocate everything. Beside me I do have a pad of scribbles. Jason's in the background doing some wiring and keeping an eye on me and check I don't say anything dumb. Our engine is set up. There is a little warning, a little yellow warning. And it's relating to the fact that we haven't set up everything for that A340. And it'll actually give us a warning. If we tap on there, it actually tells us what we've done wrong, which is really cool. It tells us this transmission typically has a line pressure control solenoid, PCS, enabling the line pressure control, and the transmission control function is recommended. Tells us. It's this. I like it. It's only recommended though. That's why it's in yellow, not red. There'll be some red things in here. There's our little yellow transmission warning. Manual light. Because it's on injector 8. And it's so, this is, have you seen this how you can get rid of stuff? You just right click it and it says remove and you just remove it and you see, yep, thank you, it's gone. Real simple to get rid of stuff. Turn stuff off on the Haltech. Really, really easy. Idle control at the moment is on. No, I'm just teaching it, just saying, hey, there's good things with every ECU and there's bad things with every ECU. And that's something that I really, really like. Some of the stuff is really simple to set up. And I must remember to order that twiddling knob for the multiple shift for the transmission. Oh, but Dash is on its way. But that's not for this job, because this one has like a check. Oh. Yeah, I've still got enough room for a check light and an oil pressure light. There's not even a tacho in this vehicle. That's how much there isn't in it. There's nothing in it. Right. So I'm going to go through and you can see it's got air conditioner control. This one has air conditioners. You wind the window down and it's got these little cool side windows. It's got the real cool
smoker's windows.
Smoker's windows, yeah. We'll just remove that. Yes, I do want to continue. Boost control. We can get rid of that. We're going to spend most of the time turning stuff off. You can see it's really easy to turn a lot of stuff off. So I'm actually going to go through now and we're going to leave flat stripped in. We're going to remove evap because again it simply doesn't have it. It's got a breather in the fuel tank. Tacho doesn't have one of those. So we get through, we get rid of all this stuff. And then I need to actually put some of these functions on the right place for what I'm doing with this vehicle, how I've allocated it. Engine check light. You can see here it is on ignition 8. It can't go on ignition 8 because we're using that as an ignition. I'm just going to check that. Let's just double check that it's got ignition over here. Ah, see, look, distributor. So I better change that too. Direct fire. By turning that to direct fire, that just, see, there we go. Now that comes up in red. So I have to edit the connection. Doesn't give me many places to put my engine check light because there are other functions already on there. So if I go assigned, it actually brings up everything else of where stuff is. It's actually already put the transmission control on the drive-by wire 1 and drive-by wire 2. So that's my two solenoids, I hope. There's my speedo output and my fuel pump controller. So where did I put my check engine light? And did I even actually allocate one? I'm going to put it on my digital pulsed output number 1. Doesn't need to support the dash. And there's some settings. And you can actually go through and there's each item that you put in, you can set the polarity of the reason a diagnostic trouble code is set. We're going to check the coolant temp. It should be on the right place. The factory setting is on AVI 8. So that looks good to me. Fuel pump should be in the correct place as well, DPO 5. It's really cool here. You can see here it's got the plug as well, or the pin configuration of it. And I don't want it on high, though. I want it on low. Prime time of 4 seconds. Cool. Speedo output. B19. I've got that as a fan. That doesn't work for me. I'm going to put it on a stepper. Where's idle control? I'm just going to turn these off. Turn it to a 2-wire. Pop that on step 4. I'll go through later on and change all the idle settings as well. Step 3 for speedo. I don't actually know, because I think that one was driving to a high side, eh? I think it was driving, because that got that speedo box in this car.
Yeah.
And they've got that resistor in it, so I don't think I'm going to need that resistor. I think I can just drive it with the Haltech. I'm quite certain of it. And then I've got to set some frequency settings to try and make that box work. Just going to turn it off for the moment. And so when I get into the, by just clicking on the thing, I can just turn it off. And I can come back in and simply turn it on when I'm doing that and actually set it up in the car. So it's not working when there's less things I'm trying to set up at one go.
Yeah, up in the house and click.
Correct. Yeah, actually test it all in one go, so there isn't weird stuff happening, which is, I think, real cool. Intake temp sensor should be in the right place. When I designed my settings, I did base it around some of the basics that were already in there to try and keep it pretty simple. Onboard pressure sensor for the map. O2 control. Now I am using a Wideband 2. And I'm going to change it to a Wideband 2. So I have to tap in a second wideband sensor. There we go. And we push OK. Probably should put the right box in. wideband control number 1. So under devices, we untick that box and we put wideband control 2. Push. Yeah, I know there's some problems. Oh wait, is it giving me a red something? No. Back to functions, and here we go. We're good. So now I can actually tap in these connections correctly, because there it is there. So wideband sensor 1, wideband 2, WC1, so that's for wideband 1, and this is wideband 2. And one thing I learned, when you've got the warning, you need to move off it. It's for it to correct that. So bank 1 has got wideband 1, bank 2 has got wideband 2. Overboost. I don't think I need overboost on an NA vehicle. I didn't assign a position. That should solve that problem. Down to transmission. Okay, vehicle speed sensor. Where did I put my vehicle speed sensor? I put it on SPI2, so that's in the correct place. That's my rear speed sensor on the back of the transmission. 4 pulses per revolution of the drive shaft. And I'm hoping that these might be kind of close, given the fact that it's on a JZ, so with an A340. But we will confirm that when we get the vehicle up and running. Okay, so gear detection is a voltage input. We're going to use this one. We're going to use Scott's little box, Next Level Motorsport. Really cool Supra that he's done, JZA80 Supra. He's being Haltech dealer. He got some really early software for it. Got his one up and running, and he's going to give us a bit of hand. We'll do a bit more of a video on that box as well another day when I'm setting up and doing the wiring, and maybe show how it's calibrated. Now, where am I putting it in? Gear position on AVI 1. I just click the connection. Connection is available. And push OK. And then it will allow us there to go in and actually calibrate that box. We are going to have a park. We are going to have a reverse. We'll have a drive. It doesn't give us sport or manual modes. Otherwise I could do it through the box. And then see, this has got overdrive. We've got a drive position and an overdrive. And we've got second and first. But it also allows for a low. But I think we'll go second first, because we've got 3 positions on our shifter for forward gears. So those will need to be calibrated once we've done the wiring. Torque converter control. It's as a PWM output, so that's good. There's no feedback at this stage, but we may be able to look at doing that. And it's on injector 7, which is now an injector, so we need to change that. I put it on a stepper function. 1, 2. Stepper 2. And transmissions input sensor, I put that on SP1. So I just go through pretty much doing this to every function I need on this transmission and on this engine. Trying to make sure we don't get any little red lines to telling us off. Oil temp, AVI 5. And it is, that's the correct place. That's easy, eh? Because I've turned the gearbox transmission input speed sensor and it's had a freak out with the wheel speed. Did I put them both on the same ones? Let's put it to a different spot. No, I think it's freaking out because I've got the input speed sensor turned on. So somewhere else it causes problems because of that input speed sensor. So I'll just disable the speed sensor, the input at the moment, because that's to do with lockup control. Drive-by-wire place 1, drive-by-wire number 2, and high. So that is correct for an A340. I need to put in my oil pressure, my fuel pressure, my oil temperature, my fuel temperature. So I'm going to whip through and put all those in. You're getting the idea of just you click on it. We can add and remove functions. Oh, have we done add and remove functions? We haven't actually. We just go add remove functions here. We go down and we find what we need to put in. Oil pressure. Oil pressure sensor, click it across. Oil temperature sensor, click it across. Fuel. Fuel pressure sensor, fuel temperature sensor. And it's that easy. This is really, really easy. It's really quick to set up. We push OK, and then these will be in red because they're not allocated. So we find it. We find an allocation. Oil pressure. Let's check on my notes where I'm putting it. I can't find it. AVI 4. AVI 4. Push OK. Calibration is a Bosch unit. So we just push on here. And it'll be pressure, Bosch 150. Job done. Thank you very much. This is 3,000 kPa as a warning. Might be a little bit high. I'll go through later on and sort some of that out. And where it sets the diagnostics. Temperature for the oil is AVI 6. Push OK. Choose a calibration. Let's go with a Bosch temperature. So temperature Bosch 150. Bang. Bit of a different map. Fuel temperature. See that. Now, if you put them in the wrong place, it will give you a warning. So say I actually wanted, I thought I was just doing oil pressure, so I've just allocated fuel pressure to oil pressure. So it's not in there. So you can just click the assigned. You can override it. You can click it on. It'll give you a warning. So whip up to the fuel side of things there, and we can change that. AVI 3, put it in the right spot, job done. Calibration is the same because I was using the same sensor. Sort calibration. I actually find this software really, really easy to use once you get your head around it. What am I actually doing? Pressure. And because it gives you warnings and you get it wrong, it's very hard to get stuff wrong. Bet you can get something wrong, Jace. Yep. Where's I putting my oil temperature? I think I've put fuel temp. Oil temp is AVI 6. Engine oil temp. I keep putting the oil pressure on the oil temp, which is great fun. I can put it on other ways. I can put it wherever I want. Yes, I can.
You're a big kid.
AVI 4. So I'm just going to change it on my bit of paper, and this will become fuel, and that makes it easier. Fuel pressure, and it's really neat because it actually brings up where you've put stuff. It allocates it on the list. So I'm going to do a little bit more setup of those inputs, and I'll come back to you to show you a couple of other little bits and pieces at the end once I've got the main stuff set up. I think you've kind of got the idea of what's going on. Righto, I've been going through and I've pretty much got to the end of my setup. If I click on here, the really neat thing, and I really like this, is we list the input outputs. And it brings up all the assigned resources. Just be really careful if you've got something disabled, like I've got my speedo disabled. It shows that it's available here, but strange, someone driving past. Downer, yeah, he's probably lost. Being a downer, he'd be going to the cell tower. But if you've got it disabled, it shows that it's available, but it isn't always available. So just be aware of that. So my main setup's done. I'm going to change a couple of the axes or the maps, the vacuum boost limits, because I'm not running boost. And this was a 2JZ map to start with, so I'm going to change a whole lot of stuff there in the main tuning map, getting it ready. And we've got to the end. I've got a check light set up, but I haven't put in a generic output for my oil light, which I'm going to do in a moment, because the ECU will be doing the oil light. And the stop or a brake light, a brake switch, has given me a little bit of an issue. I would like there to be a brake switch in there. So I may have to compromise an fuel temp may be my compromise that I make. I definitely want a rotary switch for different tuning maps. So pretty much now I'm going to get in and start pulling some wires, make a wiring loom to make this work. I'm comfortable that I've got everything in here that I need to put in at this point in time, and ready to actually, as I said, start pulling some wires. Talk to you later.